If y'all know me, you know why I'm in the mood I'm in, and I'll briefly mention why on Comic Book Canon. That was the least energetic intro I've ever had in the show, but for all that you that know, I'm in a mood. Been in a mood all day. Was in a mood at about 10 o'clock last night. Eagles lost the Super Bowl. Season's over. Time to move on. I put my Sixers hat on, and that's what I'll, that's what I got right now. So, all you Eagles fans out there, Joe, aka 360, all you people that were rooting for the Eagles, yeah, freaking heartbreaking. But at least we have friends that we can lean on, and I have a good friend, partner in crime, and co-host of the show, Christopher here. Chris, how was that intro of mine? Out of if you were to scale that a CGC grade, what would you give that?
Look, man, look. I'm gonna give you a 9.8 just to
Oh,
give you a
really?
9.8. It's been, I'm just gonna because that's what they do, right? No, I'm just kidding. Look, I'm rocking my gear. You're feeling what I felt 2 weeks ago. So it's on to next season. We both have teams I think that we can be hopeful for the future. And hey, look, at least you had a quarterback that balled out instead
Very
of
happy
having a
about Jalen
quarterback
Hurts.
that couldn't throw the ball. So
Yeah, I listen. I don't want to, obviously this isn't the NFL canon, but we were talking earlier in the show. San Francisco has some decisions to make, and I don't know how they're going to do that. They just have too many options that are big question marks. So,
yeah.
but
August
Dan McCown, at
becomes
least you admit that. Actually, look, you'll like hearing this, Chris. All good. My team hasn't won for 25 years.
oh
Who's
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Cowboys. Well, it's nice to see again all you fine people here on Comic Book Canon. We have a great show tonight because with the Super Bowl comes a lot of cool things, a lot of cool imagery, and man, it did not disappoint in that department. We're just gonna get right into it because I was psyched. The thing I was most psyched about in terms of, I mean, the game just overshadowed everything for me. Like, I really had trouble keeping up with who's, what trailers are coming out, what fun marketing things that they're going to do. So I really, didn't do much, but uh, there was one thing that was on my radar, Chris, and I want to see if it was the same thing on yours. It was the Flash trailer. Like that trailer, Chris, did not disappoint. You're like 3 words for you right now. What were your thoughts?
Finally, I am excited.
Absolutely. I mean, that trailer.
That's pertaining to DC.
Yes. Yes. And the cool thing about this is that James Gunn is really behind this. He keeps tweeting how incredible this film is. Like, he is so excited for this film. He says it's one of the best comic book films of all time. So also with the rumors that it tested well and everybody's excited about this is The Dark Knight, because that tested really well too. That's probably the best out of the Nolan trilogy.
Right.
I'm super psyched. And today they just released some new images here. We got the Flash. He's got a cool. I like the upgraded costume. I don't like his Transformer type costume that he had from the Snyderverse. I'm digging this costume, no doubt. I like this poster as well. I totally forgot about Supergirl. She looked great. Yeah. Everything looked great about here, and I know they're going to loosely base this off of Flashpoint, where I don't know if you guys haven't read Flashpoint. It's really, really good. Flashpoint basically started the New 52. They rebooted the DC universe. But within Flashpoint, Clark Kent never met his parents and he was stuck in a cell without the sun. And he was this really skinny looking thing. That's what she looks like at the beginning of this trailer. But I think what we're most excited for, Chris, I'm going to speak for you. I do that a lot because I think I know you well.
Yep.
Holy shit, Michael Keaton's back. Like, he is really, really back. We saw him back. We knew it was coming in the teaser trailer. You saw him like from behind the bat ears, but we saw him in action. My God, that was absolutely incredible. Especially, Chris, your feelings on this?
I just really, there's a lot of things going on with DC, as we know. I think the one thing that you mentioned with James Gunn being behind this is that big shout out to Swaggle who recently did a video talking about, it's like, you think with what Warner Brothers is doing and the struggles that they had, James Gunn has to be pushing these last few movies that aren't under Gunn's belt, right? These were already in place. It's the ones they're keeping. And though I think James Gunn is using this film specifically as a way to, explain how they're basically rebooting the DCEU into James Gunn's DCU. So it's exciting all around because you got all the elements of just the film itself. You got the nostalgia with Michael Keaton, which is, I think, that's the biggest thing for me. It's probably the biggest thing for you, like you said, and it's the biggest thing for a lot of people our age. But I think overall, when you take in what we saw from this last trailer and all the characters that they're bringing in, I like that they're bringing Affleck back too, and I just think they can actually do a really good job with this overall. But what's really leaning on this is how it is going to maybe set the tone for the new DCU moving forward. So I'm looking at this again. This is all that I've really done with DC over the last however many years. I want a good movie. I'm going to come out of this. I want a good movie, especially with the nostalgia, period. But I will be sitting there wanting to see what elements from this movie are going to pop out that are going to plant seeds for whatever James Gunn is doing in the future.
Yeah, I think this is going to put a bow on the previous regime. Just put the bow on the box, put it away for good. But it's also going to refresh this DC, or just kick off this DCU. James Gunn's behind it. They're going to find out a way. If the trail, and I know we've been tricked before, Chris, but if the trailer's any indication of how good this film they're saying it is, I'm freaking psyched. Let me read the synopsis real quick. Worlds collide in the Flash, and Barry uses his superpowers to travel back in time in order to change the events of the past. But when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, Barry becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation. There are no superheroes to turn to. That is, unless Barry can coax a very different Batman out of retirement and rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian, albeit not the one he's looking for. Ultimately, to save the world that he is in and return to the future that he knows, Barry's only hope is to race for his life. But will making the ultimate sacrifice be enough to reset, Chris, keyword, reset the universe? Yep. The Flash comes out on June 16th. It can't get here fast enough. What are we, 4 months away, Chris? 4 months away. Oh, somebody just let out a secret of yours, by the way. Raising Elm. Sorry, that was just broadcast is the world. All right. Next up, guys, Chris hasn't seen the trailer because he has trailer fatigue, and I do not blame him for this. But we saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer, and they just released this sweet poster. Any kind of promotional stuff that they have with Guardians is always like a throwback to old 80s movies, because that's James Gunn. James Gunn loves that era. James Gunn likes the soundtrack in that era. And we had some pretty cool tunes on this within this trailer. And you know what's cool about James Gunn is somehow he does it so seamlessly. He mixes comedy with pure heart. Yeah. We saw it in the first movie. We saw it in the second movie. I mean, Yondu passed away, and it just was about family. And like, this movie is absolutely going to be about family. But I have a feeling, Chris, it's going to be heartbreaking. Before we get into that, let me talk about our synopsis here. Our beloved band of misfits are settling into life on Nowhere, but it isn't long before their lives are upended by the echoes of Rocket's turbulent past. Peter Quill is still reeling from the loss of Gamora, but must rally his team around him on a dangerous mission to save Rocket's life. A mission that, if not completed successfully, could quite possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. May 5th is when this is released. I have a feeling, Chris, it will be the end of the Guardians as we know them. Yep. So they're already showing some heartbreaking scenes within that trailer. Chris, you've seen probably a couple of those in a previous trailer. And
I saw some stills, so but
yeah, like there's one that's like gut wrenching where Peter Quill is like just shrieking in pain, and it's just like, damn, okay, something's going to be happening here. So I'm excited about that. Good question here from Comic Toby. Will they boycott the Flash because of Ezra's violent behavior? That would be a no, especially because they invested $7 million for last night alone in this trailer. They are going forward with it. Apparently Ezra's getting help. He's hurt a lot of people, but you got that much money on the line. That's what some corporations do. They just go with it. So we'll see. And he may actually continue on as Flash. And finally, we have some fun frenemy news here. As you all know, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman will be teaming up for Deadpool 3. With that, we will obviously see Wolverine and Deadpool. But they love to portray themselves as frenemies. So first, a few weeks ago, you may have seen this. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is Jack right here. As he says, I'm not training for Deadpool. I'm training to spend several months with Hugh Jackman, who's not nearly as nice as everyone thinks. I find that funny. I think it's cute. I think they're frenemy back and forth. Very cute. And then Hugh Jackman just this past week. Hugh Jackman's post says he's only 46. I'm older, but it's not a competition. I mean, freaking the genes on those dudes to be able to get into that shape. Granted, they have the training behind them and a whole studio that making sure that they're in shape every day. That's their job. But good. It is hard work, Chris. We're not denying that. But I do enjoy their witty banter back and forth. That is going to be. I mean, when that trailer comes out, talk about breaking the internet. When you see Wolverine and Deadpool on the same screen, woo! That's going to be so much fun. So much fun. But you know what else is fun is you people joining us each and every week. We got Raising Elm. Yes, we did get your entry. Thank you for sending that our way. We got Josh's Comics, Gary Comics. Gary, thank you for the condolences to the Eagles. Dale McGound. We got Issues here is in the house. He wants Yondu coming back. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Comic Toby. Goonish Lurker. Brendan Riley. We got Serge Henderson. Hello, Jeff and Chris. And he says hello to the comic book community. We got, who else do we have here? We got. Oh, we don't have many. Okay, but it's a good crew. Very good crew. Happy to have you guys all here on this sad Monday after the Super Bowl. But we're gonna lighten it up here a bit because normally right here we do props or flops. Chris, explain to me why we're doing a little something different here.
All right. So yeah, for those
that Down is here too. Want to say what's up because he has a cool submission today too.
Yep.
All right. Well,
so
we're gonna do a little different here.
Yeah, I mean, for those that entered, your props or flops submission, don't feel bad. We'll get to them. Keep entering your submissions. We'll be back doing props or flops next week. But there was just so much going on over this last week that I said I want to take a whole nother approach on this segment, talking about the market. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at Cover Price's top 10, not only top 10, but actually their top 20 of the week that they do. We used to do our top 10 segment based on that. We're going to look at these books and we're going to talk about what's being called right now is the James Gunn effect. And I'm going to tell you guys what my personal feelings on this is in terms of an investment standpoint, looking at the market, and maybe give you all, as collectors, investors, speculators, whatever you want to label yourself as, what should I be doing about this? What should I be doing about this James Gunn effect that is in full effect right now? A lot to be said. And Jeff, I wanted to talk about this with you here to get your opinion live. And of course, we got the chat here that can chime in too.
All right.
So,
absolutely.
What do you think? Should we just bring
again, guys, this is interactive. We want props or flops is interactive. Everybody helping each other out and giving each other side of their opinions and things like that, and really just having a nice conversation and things. So it's an exciting time because it's been kind of dead in the spec market, for a variety of reasons. And I think we're going to start seeing an acceleration within the spec market. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. With all of these announcements, and just by this top 10 list alone. That was last week right after the announcements. It's awesome. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, well, especially with DC, and there's been the conversation of DC not having that spec value. And what about I always say, I mean, DC as Marvel there's an intrinsic value in comic books. And this is what I want to really look at today. We're going to talk about this intrinsic value and what that means for this James Gunn effect that we're happening right now. So yeah, let's look at this top 10 list. Let's bring up the image.
Yep, let's do it.
So right here was your top 10 books, folks. Now we're not going to break down every single book. I am going to point out some to you and break down some numbers, but number one, we got The Authority. We know that James Gunn announced an Authority property coming. We got the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow number 1. Is that
that's a variant? It looks like
cover A in variant, right?
Yeah,
which is supposedly going to be James Gunn's Supergirl's what it's going to be based on. So that's why that's there. This is a fairly new book that came out just over a year ago. We got all the Damian Wayne stuff. We got his cameos, his full, because there's James Gunn announced a Brave and a Bold that's going to focus on Bruce and Damian. Whether he's going to be Robin or not, we don't know. Legends number 1, first appearance of Viola Davis's character, Amanda Waller, that we've already seen. She's obviously sticking in the James Gunn universe with the announcements that he had for her, focusing more on her life. Booster Gold. Oh my! And the funny thing about Booster Gold is, I think it was on the Canon, Jeff, one of our first shows where I made a comment like saying, that's like DC doing something on Booster Gold and us spending hundreds of dollars on it. But, oh well, James Gunn announces it. It's happening.
Yeah.
The hundreds of dollars in terms of the book, that is.
And that's a James Gunn character he would have fun with all day.
That is true. That is true. James Gunn could do a good thing with Booster Gold. I will give it that. Weird Tales, the Creature Commandos announcement. So that's why that book's up here. Stormwatch, because of characters being in the Authority. Stormwatch originally was Image, but then DC bought the property under their Wildstorm. Swamp Thing, I mean, that's huge. That's kind of in a league of its own, and we know that James Gunn announced the Swamp Thing news, and that's big. But Jeff, all DC here, all DC. So we know when we were doing the top 10, this list is based specifically on trending sales. And it's very indicative of the speculation market, because if you get a trailer, if you get an option, anything like that, this cover price list usually shows those things moving, right? Let's look at the runners up, which is 11 through 20. You want to bring that image up on screen here?
Absolutely.
Because look at this. All except for number 19, we have 9 more DC books. There's no Marvel book even in the 10 runners up. This is, I mean, it's impressive for DC. You got All-Star Superman, which supposedly is going to be the reboot that Gunn is doing for his new Superman character. And here's Batman, 657, again, more Damian Wayne, technically his first full appearance, or if you want to call second, whatever. That's not the point of this video. You guys can argue about that somewhere else. Batman and Robin stuff, all of this pertaining to James Gunn. You got that other Stormwatch 37 in there with the first appearance of I forget which Jenny Sparks, who's part of the Authority. So, all right, here's the thing, Jeff. We could be looking at this and be approaching this in a way where it's like, this is what DC needs.
Yeah. I have a feeling there's something else. You got some more to say about that, though.
Nope.
Oh.
No. Yes, I do have nothing. I do have more to say to it, and it's nope. This is not what DC needs.
Okay.
What you're seeing right here, people, in my humble opinion, is the same thing you've been seeing for the last couple of years when it comes to how much FOMO is out of control, and it's all for the wrong reasons. Okay, what you're seeing right here is the same reason why Dollar Bin first appearance of Frogman jumped up to a $25 book when we figured out that Frogman is going to be in She-Hulk. And what was he in She-Hulk? He was there for 30 seconds, and it was some spoof, and then poof, He's gone. Nobody cares about Frogman anymore. Back to the dollar bin you go. Marvel Tales 109 or 108, whatever it is.
I bought a 9.8 for $750. That's not true.
This is all bad. Now, let me give you context. We're going to pull up some numbers here, and we're going to look at this. So, look at this. First off, you got you got brand new books like the Superwoman book or Supergirl, Women of Tomorrow, whatever, jumping up to being a $40 book when it was a cover. I mean, you couldn't even sell it for cover price. You go to A1 Comics and they got it in the back issue bins for cover price, and they're selling it for half off at their sale. $40 book just because James Gunn says something. You got these Stormwatch books. Stormwatch 37, dollar bin book all day, selling for $60. And that's not just one sale. That's the last 4 sales hitting $60 in a raw copy. People. Actually, there's more than 4. There's some that are for 40, 30, 28, 58, 49. I'm looking at the sales right now. Let's look at this other Stormwatch number 4, which already had a little bit of a value. It was about maybe just depending on the grade, anywhere from a $10 to $20 book. This book, the last 2 sales jumped up over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sales, all over $100, hitting a record high $160 for a book that just a few months ago was selling for $20 in a near mint raw copy. People, this is not what we need. Now, anybody sitting on these books that can sell them right now is obviously happy about it. It goes back to the intrinsic value in comic books. We are forgetting why comic books are worth money in the first place. And here's the thing. We got to compare it to Marvel in the MCU. Remember, let's go back to the Spider-Man trilogy, Raimi's trilogy. People didn't watch a trailer and then go buy books pertaining, Doc Ock is going to be in a Spider-Man movie. Let's go buy a bunch of copies and then go flip them. We came out of those movies loving what we saw on screen, and it brought us back to the comic book shops. We went and saw Spider-Man 3, even though it was a wreck of a movie, but we loved seeing the symbiote on screen, that we went back, because I was one of them. I went back to the comic book shop and I bought 2 copies because I just couldn't believe seeing my childhood on screen like that. One of my favorite villains and favorite story arcs of the Black Suit. When Iron Man came out, we fell in love with Iron Man, not because we saw a trailer, but because we watched Robert Downey Jr. bring that character to life. We watched Avengers and got goosebumps through that 2.5-hour-long movie, and we saw Thanos at the end sitting on his throne. And we're like, whoa! And we went back and bought Thanos books because we couldn't believe that our childhood and these characters were shown up on screen. And when we watched Age of Ultron, and at the end, we see him open that up to the gauntlet and say, fine, I'll do it myself. And he puts that gauntlet on. I went out and bought 2 sets of the Infinity Gauntlet, not because I'm speculating on these, but because, God damn it, that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, to see one of the coolest villains in the coolest story arcs of my childhood show up on screen in a post-credit scene that just left me in tears like a little boy. We saw Guardians Volume 1, and I hardly knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were myself. I knew that they were some weird freaking characters. I went and started buying the late 80s, early 90s run.
Great run.
We have lost our identity in terms of why we do what we do. And here's what makes it problematic for James Gunn in this new DCU. We have not seen one movie. We have not came out of a movie of a DCU universe feeling any of the things that I just told you guys that would want us to embrace these characters. Can that happen? Absolutely. And if it does, some of these books might hold their value of what they're selling right now. Doubt it. Swamp Thing, it's already a key book. We could come out of the theater loving that Swamp Thing, and that book can increase. But let's look back at these things. Most of these are modern books. Some of them are Copper Age, which still a lot of collectors consider modern, but it's copper. The volatility in where these books are sitting right now is based on FOMO, pure and simple. Because we have programmed ourselves right now as whatever, I'm just going to say as buyers of comics. I'm not going to say collector, flipper, speculator. As buyers of comics, we have brainwashed ourselves to believe that comic books are valuable simply because there's a trailer, simply because there's a movie, simply because some guy named James Gunn now wants to make an announcement of all these things that are coming out. Now, let me talk a little bit about James Gunn and this new DCU. And Jeff, we've talked about this on our show. We both love what James Gunn has done for a lot of the things that he's worked on. And we are both very optimistic in what he can do in this role that he's in with DC. We do both believe that he carries a nurtured soil, so to say, that was not there with Warner Brothers to begin with. That nurtured soil means...
Well said, yes.
Yeah, he cares about the properties. He cares about the seeds that he plants. He's invested in it, not monetarily or not, for monetary reasons. He's invested in it because he cares about the seeds that he's planting into his soil. That's a positive thing. But I'm going to tell you right now, Jeff, they are still 10 years into the DCEU and having this reset. What are they doing? What are they still trying to do?
They're resetting again. Like it's
no, but why? What are they comparing it to?
What they're comparing it to the MCU.
To the MCU. They are still looking to the MCU to say, what can we do? How do we do this right? And I'm going to tell you, Jeff, this is what worries me. It still ain't doing what they're doing. James Gunn came out and announced some really crazy stuff. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't need to do exactly what the MCU does to be successful. And maybe that'll work out. But I am very concerned about them just doing what they've been doing. How is it all going to connect? He's got a lot, the Creature Commandos, the Authority, where once again, what did Marvel do? Let's start slow.
Yeah.
One character at a time. And then we have a bit. He's got teams over here. We're not only going to make the animated connect, but we're going to make the video games connect. I really think that James Gunn is still taking way too much on to make a connected universe work. But he's got a lot of pressure because Warner Brothers needs money. We need properties. We need to push them out. We can't do a one film every 2 years thing like Marvel did starting out. So, okay, I don't know. But when you take that into consideration, and when you take the simple volatility of these comic books selling for what they're selling right now just because James Gunn announced it, this can implode and explode very quick and very fast. And that is my big concern.
Okay, I want to respectfully disagree with you.
With everything or parts?
You be the judge of that, and also
Okay.
the audience. But for better or for worse, the MCU has changed collecting as well. Okay?
Yes.
It has changed collecting.
Yep.
And here we are right now with the DCU starting.
Yep.
And James Gunn is building a foundation. What he first announced is the foundation he is building with some awesome properties, right?
Yep.
Some awesome properties. And for better or for worse, people went out knocking over grandmas and all this and you know, kicking the dog out of the way, getting in the store to get Supergirl, what's the
Woman of Tomorrow? Yep.
Woman of Tomorrow. And yes, I understand what you're saying. They're trying to flip it. But I'll tell you what, out of all of those products, I'm excited to read that story because I didn't know anything about it. It came out 2 years ago, and I love DC. Yeah. Marvel has my heart, but I've had quite memorable moments with DC. Right? I remember back in the day, John Byrne's Superman sucked me into that whole DC world. I've told you that's one of my favorite artists. Where I first realized that artists have their own different styles and things like that. And it's cool to see how all of them interpret each character. That meant a lot to me. Jim Aparo opened the world up for Batman. That was the day, and he has the famous, when Robin died, in his arms and, that image right there. Those things are still within me, and I want to see them translated onto the screen, which James Gunn is looking to do. Booster Gold. Yeah. You know how many times people want to see Booster Gold? That was already a key book. It's probably, at least 10, 20% boost, no pun intended, a boost in fair market value. But I think this is a good thing, actually. It's getting people out there. And I know some people are scrambling for monetary means, but people are also scrambling because they want to read this stuff. And I'm going to read Woman of Tomorrow. That's top of my list of the new things to read. I do collect a few DC. I haven't been on top of my reading in a while. But I'm excited for this stuff. I am genuinely excited, and I think that's a good thing. And before your rebuttal, I'll credit to Gunn for really encouraging people to read comics, though. He's on the film side and doesn't have to do it, but it helps bolster readership of the source material and attract new readers. And as you'll see on the trailer, they show the original source material. Hey, go check out these graphic novels or floppies or whatever. So I'm excited for it in general. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. We're not disagreeing. Everything you said, I actually agree with. And that's what it should be doing. But here's some factors that we need to add context to everything you just said. There's a couple of things. One, when we look at these properties, and we want to go buy the books because now we're interested in reading the story. Maybe we want to read the story before the movie comes out. There is something called a natural flow of market. Natural, and I'm looking at Booster Gold right now.
This is where you have the advantage because you have your degree in economics. Or
this book in a near mint raw copy was maybe a $50 book. And this is going into the COVID market coming out of 2021.
For what book?
Booster Gold.
Okay, yeah.
You know what it's selling for right now?
What?
Well, there was a $126 sale, a $140 sale, and then a $252 sale.
Jesus. Are those slabbed or no? Not slabbed.
Raw. Okay. Jeff, this is what I'm telling you. It's not people like you or me that want to buy it to read it or want to buy it because we're simply excited that are driving these prices up like this. It's because that's not a natural progression of supply and demand. It's not. These are modern books mostly that we're talking about too. And remember, I've talked about this on the show before where we bottleneck supply and demand because these are books. And I looked at it. A lot of these books, there's none of them on the census. None of them have been graded for a lot of the books. Or if they are, there's very few because nobody cared about them.
Yeah.
A lot of them are dollar books. Some of them are $5, $10 books. And what's happening now is a bottleneck because you get people that are jumping on these and there might only be a few on eBay right when the announcements hits. And what do? FOMO. And they bid a $40, $50 book up to $252. It's freaking nuts. So that is my, not even a rebuttal to what you're saying. It's context to saying, I'm there with you. This is how we can naturally, and I'm not saying that those things that me and you love about the comics and the movies, that would drive the value of these books up, but not to this extent, right? This is volatile, and any market, stock market, housing market, comic market, any market that sees increases like this, it's
unhealthy.
doomed. Go ahead.
Okay, but again, we can't get away from what it is now, and this is the MCU effect. Okay,
it is the
this
MCU,
is the
yep.
MCU effect. For
Yep.
better or for worse, that's what it is. However, I have no doubt that $200 Booster Gold book is going to dip way down because people are going to start flooding the market with their books, and nobody's going to be paying $200 for it. And it's going to slowly ramp back up. That's what it does. That's what it does. So we always have to account for the MCU effect, which hopefully is also going to be the DCU effect. I think it's fun. I think these characters are well deserving of all of this excitement. I mean, I see everybody wanting to see Lobo. I would love to see Lobo. Let's hope. I mean, who knows? Jason Momoa is going to play Aquaman and Lobo, but he was born to play Lobo. Let's be honest with that. So I don't know, man. It's an exciting time, but I hear what you're saying. It's not healthy, maybe to a degree, but on the flip side, it brings so much attention to these books, and I think it's good. I think in the long run, it is healthy, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing. You got a couple things to that. When you say that's going to dip back down and go back up, then not every book follows that trend, because, especially right now, because you got to understand, and this is where the market is slowed down because of the economy. FOMO hasn't slowed down.
Yep.
Because again, you could go back to any movie, any show, any option, and FOMO is out of control still, even more than it was even at the beginning of the COVID boom. That's what worries me too. And you got to consider this as well.
I'm glad you're right.
I'm glad that you brought up the MCU effect. The MCU started this. Well, how we respond to the MCU started it. We now see that even if a property is successful, even in the MCU that is the gold standard, we FOMO out so much that even if the property is successful and the character is well loved and the character stays around, the books will trend back down.
But we anticipate that.
And again, it's even more volatile with these because they're mostly modern books. So when you pull so far away from the fact that comic books have an intrinsic value, they're inherently valuable because of all these other reasons, and we're only focused on this, I don't know. So James Gunn has a lot to prove in making these properties entertaining and fulfilling and on that MCU level to where we're coming out of them loving these characters. But even that isn't enough to sustain the extreme volatility of our reactionary behavior when it comes to the FOMO in believing that we need to buy books at 5, 10, 20 times what they were selling the day before just because we get an announcement. And yes, we, even with the MCU, because the extreme FOMO with the MCU is probably only about 5 years old, and then it really peaked in the COVID market, right? Before that, it was what I was saying when I started my rant earlier, right? But we have seen books like, I think it dipped off a little now with the economy, but you saw Thanos' first appearance dip down really hard after the Infinity Saga ended, but now it's gone back up and it's at where it was before the Infinity War came out in 2018. So that's a good thing. But what is that? That's an early Bronze Age book that's already a valuable book. It's not a modern book. So I think it's going to be very hard to look 5, 10 years from now at all these modern books and see where a $2 book that's now selling for $50, $60 because of an announcement. Let's see where it's at if we're enjoying James Gunn's movies, properties, films, and let's see if it can even compete with the FOMO market, because that's really what it is at this point.
I'm gonna hopefully wrap this up with one question to you.
Yes.
Is it volatile if you can predict, right? Let's just say, if we had a conversation before the announcement, let's just say, I bet you James Gunn is going to announce Booster Gold.
This character, that character, this character.
Let's just say Booster Gold, just for that example. Because wouldn't you, I think you and I, after doing this show for almost 3 years now, holy cannoli, 3 years, you and I would have an understanding that this announcement is going to spike that book.
Yep.
And a couple weeks after the announcement, we're going to start. I don't know if it's going to be a hard, downgrade, but it's going to go down, and it's going to go down until we get announcement of casting.
Yep.
Then down, trailer. Then down, and movie release, and then down back to the sequel. So is it volatile if we can predict those things?
Yeah, because it doesn't change what volatile means. Are we playing the market? If we can predict, and I've always said this. I said this about the MCU. Guys, Frogman, literally go out there and buy every first appearance of any character ever created. Because they're probably going to show up in the MCU. And if you're willing to wait on it, and as soon as we get an announcement, go sell it, because the FOMO, people aren't learning from the FOMO. Jeff, yes, it's volatile because we're not talking about what we can predict. We're talking about what the market is doing. A market that does this is extremely volatile, just like penny stocks. If you can invest in penny stocks and you're a day trader, you can profit off of the volatility. Now, the way I just worded it, that sounds like a good thing, right? We do this as a living. We can be considered day traders of comic book spec because we do it for a living. We study the market. We look at what's going on with the movies and film, what's being optioned, etc. We know the books. We know the market. We know the books. We know the characters. We could sit here and day trade. We can stack up who we think's going to come, and then we can day trade, and we can be living lavishly in all the money we're making. I could have bought 20 copies of Authorities for $1 each and now flipped them for $50 each and have $1,000 in my pocket. And that's how I can make a living. Is that good? That's not a negative thing? Not for me, if that's what I'm doing, but it is an absolute negative thing in terms of the market, because any volatile market, any real investor is going to stay extremely clear from a volatile market. And when real investors steer clear from a volatile market, what does that mean for long-term investments? It means nobody's looking at them. Penny stocks die out. These small companies, either they declare bankruptcy or they sell off to a bigger company and they freaking eliminate, or they what's the word where they eliminate the stock, the shares, dissolve the stock. So I mean, essentially, that's what can happen with these books. But again, some different than others. Swamp Thing, Damian Wayne's first appearance, Artie Keys. Be careful, guys. All I'm saying is that FOMO needs to be put in check. We could still speculate. We could still have fun with the movie hype and the optioning and all this stuff. And I'm glad DC is taking off in a certain way, and I'm hopeful for the future. But there's got to be some type of control and balance in how we are making our decisions within the market.
All right. I mean, I feel like a knowledgeable investor in comic books would not, if you're going to invest in either a Booster Gold first appearance or a Frogman first appearance, you're going to go Booster Gold.
Oh, yeah. Booster Gold's still not Frogman. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not. No.
I don't know. Anyways, we can talk.
The Authority probably is more, because that's a dollar bin book. That's more like a Frogman example.
Okay. Well, the Authority is definitely not. That's going to be an interesting super group. That's going to be I could see it being an R-rated property. You know what I mean? For many reasons. Yeah. All right. Well, that was great breakdown right there. It's great to see the Gun effect in effect with literally, was that 20 out of 20 right there, Chris? We know it was 10 out of the first 10.
19 out of 20.
What was the one book that wasn't, because we've never seen this after doing the show for 3 years.
Criminal.
Oh, okay, yeah. Brubaker's indie. Okay, yeah. I don't remember who's
crazy.
adapting.
I know, crazy.
But all right, I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Gun Effect. To be honest with you, I personally am. I know you have mixed feelings, but okay. All right, moving on. Though we have this segment that we do each and every week that we love doing because we love seeing what you collect. Chris, name always slips my mind. What is it?
I finally made it after 2.5 months. I am legitly, no lie. I'm not lying to you guys. I'm fresh from the comic shop.
Fly from the Preston Salon. That's right. Each week we ask you, the audience, to show us your fresh gets in your collection. They could be 2 days old. They could be 30 years old. But as long as they're fresh in your collection, we want to see them. Just post them up onto Instagram. Hashtag FFTCS. You'll see it on every little slide that we have up here. FFTCS. Tag us at Comic Book Canon. Tag us at Journos. Whatever. Make sure we see those fresh gets. And each and every month, you can win an amazing EGS slab, because EGS sponsors this segment. We love Tony Trebetta with EGS. Chris, tell us a little bit more about EGS.
All right, guys. EGS, again, if you guys haven't used them yet, I always say spend the $20-something, send a book in. They got their new proprietary cases that, I mean, it's been some months now. So check out their website, egscomicsgrading.com. Save 5% on your order using the code CANON5. Again, they got those optional custom labels, free grader's notes for any grade, fast turnaround times. Definitely worth it.
Yep, it is worth it. I showed this off last week, Chris. This case, honestly, there's something. I asked Tony what it was. I think he said he added an extra pin in these. I'm not sure if it's these ones in the middle here.
Yeah.
This case feels super solid. And again, I love the custom design. I'm very happy with this sign. Stan Lee, Amazing Spider-Man 96. Very happy to have this back in my collection. I know this is like preference. I was very worried about sending this in through the mail, not because of Tony, just because of the mail. Because this is I think this is my most prized possession in terms of my comic books, as it has a lot of meaning to me. So anyways, yeah, super happy, super happy. I'll just put it right here for now. How about that? All right. I had something to say and I can't remember what it was, but let's just get to it because each and every month you guys, we have one person that moves on to the semifinals. And then we have 2 semifinalists going head to head to see who goes to the finals. That happens twice in a month. What we look for in each submission is presentation. Give us a well-composed shot. Get creative. Have fun. Be artistic with it. Have it connect to the overall theme of the book. We see many of those images. We have a lot of people doing a lot of amazing things. Unique. How unique is a book? It doesn't have to be a $30,000 book to be unique, but it could be a book that none of us have ever seen before, and it kind of blows us away. We see a lot of those too. Story. This one goes very far. Probably the furthest out of all the criteria that we look for to move on to the semifinals. Tell us why this book is important to you. Does it have a story that you can relate to in your life? Does it remind you the first? Is it the first book you ever picked up off the rack? Did your father buy it for you? Did you lose it in a flood and you recently reacquired the same book? So let us know what it means to you. Story goes a long way with us. And again, as we said, each and every month, EGS gives away a fine slab. And this one, woo boy, with The Mandalorian coming up next month, March 1st, we got The Mandalorian 5, the Stephanie Hans cover A version. Look at that. You see Mandalorian up at the top. You see Grogu up at the top and that nice black and red gradient matching the cover. I love it. I know Chris does too. All right. But before we move on, because we had our first semifinals of February, and we had Maz's Toy Box going against Arana Escarlata. Maz won 67% over 33 with that Fantastic Four Galactus. It's just, I mean, I think Joe, aka 360, aka it's his birthday. I don't know if it's an AKA. He's like that. He said that's the best submission we've ever seen.
I was thinking the same. I didn't, I couldn't catch the show last week.
Unbelievable.
When I saw it posted though, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, this is one of the best ever. So kudos to him, Maz for
Maz. Aron Escarlata usually is into the Ben Riley, Scarlet Spider stuff, but that was a great submission too. But man, that was really tough competition going up against Maz's toy box. All right, Chris, I'm gonna hype this up. I got a book in the mail that I got, and the seller added a freebie in there.
Nice,
and it blew me away. So I'm pretty hyped. And by the way, Tony's here. Tony, we were just typing up your book, man. I just showed off the book that you just got me back, my book, and I'm so very happy. It feels good holding it, Tony. Keep up the good work. All right. First up, we got Neighbor to the North. I did make a big purchase over the weekend at Cherry Bomb Toys. These bring back such good childhood memories, and they are finally in the collection again. They look so sweet next to my DC Comics Presents 47. So Neighbor to the North got those original toys that we all love so much. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe left an impression on most of us, including myself, my brother. Oh my gosh. My brother and I used to get in fights because we each had our own He-Man, but one of us had to have a blue marker on the bottom of the foot. And it was my little brother that did, and he was so pissed. Anyways, moving on. Speaking of Rana Escarlata, we got received this back from CBCS, triple signature verified of DeFalco, Friends, and Sienkiewicz. What if number 105, the first appearance of Spider-Girl, May Parker. I like this. Again, he did a great job here. Absolutely. Plus, that book is killer. 9.8 with those 3 signatures. Great stuff. Chris, what is your first fresh get of the week?
Well, I only have one, guys, but
is it a doozy? Can we describe it as a doozy?
No, absolutely not.
All right. You don't like that word, or it's just not a doozy?
It is. I did a video on it.
Okay. It's an ASM, obviously.
Amazing Spider-Man number 27.
Yeah, get it.
Fifth appearance of the Green. Oh shoot, my light just went crazy. Fifth appearance of the Green Goblin. I had this sitting at A1 for like 2.5 months, and I finally was able to get it. Got in about a 4.0. It's a beauty. It's funny because I did an unboxing video, and someone was like, "I don't get it. You said you were done buying comics and that you were selling off your collection." I'm like, I explained it. First off, I didn't buy this. It's been sitting, recently it's been sitting for 2.5 months. That was before I made that video. And secondly, I'm not selling everything, guys. I got to remind everyone, I'm selling a lot, but I will never sell my Spider-Man stuff. Come on, guys. So,
yeah. Is that your earliest issue?
Absolutely not. My earliest issue was number 8.
Why did I not know that? I feel like I should have known that. By the way, Tommy Fleming making a triumphant return. Hello, Tommy. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, people are liking that book. I myself am liking that too. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Chris doesn't mean he's selling off all of his books. What do you have, like 17,000 books?
23,000, not counting my for sale inventory.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna
come on, 17. That was so 3 years ago.
Anyways, moving on. How dare I? Marvel Man 616 with the Doom. I'm not sure if the Marvel Comics Presents is Kirby. It looks Kirby, but that Fantastic Four is Kirby to a T. And I love Kirby. You love Kirby. We all love Kirby. That's beautiful. I love it. Marvel Man 616. Great job. All right, into Oblivion. What do we got? We got Ghostlight number 1, the first appearance of Ghostlight, formerly Al Harper, who was introduced and died in Silver Surfer number 5 from 1969. I was meaning to pick this book up. I did not. I'm probably going to hit it up on the Marvel Unlimited. But I do want to read about Al Harper because I find that fascinating that after 54 years, this character comes back. So that's pretty cool right there. All right, my first fresh get of the week. Y'all know. Love these. I have so much to catch up on, but I got the Darth Vader number 31. I'm loving this cover. Character by the name of Tambor. I'm not sure if it's his first appearance or first cover appearance as well. I gotta catch up, but it's a sweet cover. Another sweet Darth Vader cover, Chris. Another sweet cover. All right.
I always say you could collect Star Wars just for the covers, man.
Just for the covers. Darth Vader covers best covers right there. Moving on, we have who do we have? We have Nukes Comics. That's who we have. Fresh from the Whatnot app, Amazing Spider-Man 167. Spidey is ambushed by J. Jonah Jameson, Spider Slayer, again, but then confronts a new would-be wispy villain. I picked up this book from a recent Whatnot sale. Who said run-fills can't be fun-filled? I like that. He has another, I think he had another phrase last week, and I can't remember what it was. This one's killer as well. I love this cover too. And the Wisp, man, that's definitely like a D-rated villain. I remember him vaguely here and there. I don't remember any of his powers, but anyways, we got Son of Comics, Ultimate Spider-Man. This is interesting. I did not know this, everybody. Ultimate Spider-Man 54, the first appearance of Tobey Maguire in the 616 universe. A first appearance that's not talked about much, but for the low price, it was definitely worth adding to the PC. Did you know this, Chris?
Yep.
I had no idea. I must have been.
Yeah, they're filming the movie. They're filming the Spider-Man movie in the book.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. All right, you know what else is awesome is that book I picked up. I'll just go because I know, Chris, that your book overshadowed. Your book was excellent. Actually, my freebie, Chris, I think you're going to be jealous. You're definitely
better than the one you actually bought.
Yeah, but I got this for less than $100. I had to jump on it. It was $93. It's very rare I go for that. Very rare. I don't, I barely buy slabs, but this was point one, the first appearance of Sam Alexander. And this is the variant right here, the wraparound cover variant.
So that's what you bought.
I bought this, yes.
Right.
And I have to say, Chris, the freebie almost overshadows this.
That's crazy.
I know. So I'm happy to get this guy.
That's the cover too.
Feige said a few years back that they're going to have both of the Novas in. I'm not sure if that's changed. That was that was early days of COVID. I think he mentioned that. So that was my second fresh get. And again, the freebie I got in there, you guys, I cannot wait to show it to you. We're getting there soon. Okay. All right. Chris, it's not Spider-Man's your favorite. I know that, but it's another favorite of your properties.
Uh-oh.
I'll give you one guess. You can go.
What's that?
Guess. What's another favorite property of yours?
Watlock.
No. Nope. All right, moving on. Who do we have? Oh, the Collector Without Fear. Guys, you want to see how to take a picture? I know he's in production, but look at this depth of field, the shot, the book is outstanding. As he says, picked up this beauty, Moon Knight #1, fresh from the comic shop recently. That shop being Little Giants Comics, who is putting on the best comic show in New England this April, FYI. You got to tell us about that. Probably a 9.0 or 9.2, maybe better with a clean and press. Hands down, Moon Knight is one of my favorite characters, other than Daredevil. Duh. Such a rich history over the years, a character more people need to read because the storytelling in some of those runs was truly epic. Chris, this one right here, this submission, I love it. I love the picture, how clean everything is. I think he's got Moon Knight stuff in the background too.
I see that kind of blurred out back there.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, moving on. We got Comic Demon. Comic Demon gives us a ton of books that they get each and every week. I thought these were really cool, these Spawn covers right here. Another new comic book batch from last month. Being a Spidey completist can be a downfall with a lot of unnecessary variants. Remember when variants used to be a specialty? Oh, the 90s all over again. He also got some Spider-Man variants. This guy, Mark Leneker, this is a good book. Creepshow graphic novel, 1982, with art by Bernie Wrightson and cover by EC artist Jack Kamen. This copy was a no-brainer pickup, as it was not only unread, but apparently unopened. Creepshow was Stephen King and George A. Romero's love letter to pre-code horror, particularly EC. It was also one of a stable of fantasy and horror movies that played on a nearly constant rotation on early pay cable. Oh, I remember those days. Raise your hands if these were part of your misspent youth. Absolutely. Hawk the Slayer, Beastmaster, Friday the 13th, Part 3, Clash of the Titans, and Wes Craven's Swamp Thing. If you've never seen the original Creepshow, seek it out. It is great. Another great one, Mark. Another great one indeed. We got Nerds Being Geeks. Look at this, huh? Would you look at this? Dark Horse presents number 88, written by Jeffrey Lang with art by Steve Lieber, cover by Mike Mignola. Sorry. Recently picked this book up from Freedom Comics in Toledo, Ohio. I also just had this Hellboy comic corner box art commissioned by Heads Up Studios. That bad boy is 3 feet by 1 foot and is absolutely stunning. He really got the look and feel of Mike Mignola in this piece. Please check out the other artwork being done by Heads Up Studios 3. All right. Well, here's the deal. That's a great submission again. That's a great example of a well-composed shot. But Chris, it is a birthday of somebody in the community, right? Somebody very special, somebody we love, and everybody in here knows who he is. His name is Joe, aka 360 Comics. Wanted to bring him in. He has a new friend. What's up, Joe?
Yeah, I'm just hanging out with my friend Peter. We're at the comic store. Yeah, that's about it.
He looks quite shiny and he's not moving. Is he nervous?
He's a little camera shy.
Okay.
Kind of stiff right now, but yeah, he'll loosen up later.
So Joseph, you had a terrible day yesterday, but today is your birthday. How are things going?
I didn't tell you this yesterday. I didn't tell you this yesterday, but I picked up a really sick collection yesterday. So it kind of made my day better. But
that was before. That had to have been before.
It was before. So I was riding high going into the game. And the game itself,
yeah, I know, man,
until the last 2 minutes was so good.
I
had a good time watching it with my wife and her friends. And
her friends.
Yeah, she had her friends over. And
yeah, I know. You told me that. By the way, Joe was, well, I don't know if that's true, but Joe shared the Super Bowl with his wife and her friends, all women, which is fine. That's fine.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk about the attractiveness of Jalen Hurts that I wasn't really part of that conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Look at he's a handsome man. He's a handsome man. And absolutely. We have a franchise quarterback we're going to be paying a lot of money to in the next year. Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to say hello. I don't know if you want to hang out. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back. I'm in between rounds right now in a Magic the Gathering tournament at my LCS. But yeah, I figured I'd stop by and say hi. And that's it.
Dude, we love you.
Well, guess what? I love you guys too.
That's so special. All right, happy birthday. Make sure they let you win, please.
I'm undefeated. I got one more round. I got to win that one, and we'll see.
As I always say to you, win all the magic, okay?
Win all the magics.
All of it. Get it all.
Absolutely.
All right, happy 21st, buddy.
Yep. Don't drink too much. Don't drink too much.
33rd. I'm 33rd.
Get out of here. You don't look a day over 32. Good day.
Peace.
All right. I love the guest appearance right there on location, Joe, aka 360 Comics. If you're not following him, shame on you. Link is down below. All right, where were we, Chris? Mark Leneker, we got Nerds Being Geeks. Goonish Lurker. Who do we have here? What do we have? Where is, this week's Fresh in the Comic Shop submission items came from Mutiny Comics 10th anniversary in-house auction. This is definitely an homage to cartoonist K-Fob. My centerpiece is a signed copy of Hip Hop Family #1, which I was particularly excited to win. On the left is R. Crumb's Best Buy Comics, and on the right is Judge Dredd 4 for the Brian Boland fans out there. And in the rear is Mobius's Le Monde Edena Le Repertoire. The creators of these books are really inspiring to me, and I'm glad to add them to my collection. Those are all giants of the industry that some don't get a lot of credit. But fantastic gets right there, Goonish Lurker. Love it. Moving on, we have who do we have? Raising Elm Comics. Howdy, comic book fam. I hope everyone enjoyed Super Bowl Sunday. To Jeff and Joe, sorry to hear about the Eagles. There's always next year. I hate that phrase. I hate it. My family and I didn't actually watch the game, but we still enjoyed a very relaxing Sunday together. My recent pickup is another Star Wars book for Elijah's PC. I'm trying to read the series on my Marvel Unlimited app as I pick up the books, and this one made for an interesting read. Luke and a squad of rebels infiltrate a Star Destroyer fleet via previously captured TIE fighters. What did you all pick up this week? Be well, comic fam. Again, that's a great example right there of creative work and how they're taking their pictures right there. Nowhere Bound 86. I like this because we see your face. Another recent pickup at my local comic shop. First appearance of the Super Skrull, approved by the curmudgeonly old sea captains everywhere. I guess he's referring to himself and his beard. Am I overdoing it on the Fantastic Four books? Let me know. Covered by Jack Kirby, Paul Ryman, Stan Goldberg, and Art and Simic. You're definitely not overdoing it on those Fantastic Four books, especially the Silver Age ones, Chris. Are you going to disagree with me?
Nope.
Exactly. I knew you wouldn't. That's why I set you up for that. And finally, guys, this is a fresh get, right? This counts. This counts indeed. SuperCrispy.comics. I almost forgot to post my fresh get from the comic shop.
Oh,
Big
nice.
thank you to Comic Book Cannon and EGS Comics for this absolutely awesome kick-ass book right here. My friends, don't forget to post your fresh from the comic shop for Comic Book Cannon on YouTube, and you might win a graded slab from EGS. They pick a winner every month, and this was last month's winner. Tyler Kirkham, variant of Spider-Man. I think it was 7. Yeah, super crispy. Glad to see. It's already. It looks great in your house. And look at that. That's a nice picture right there. The way he tinted the corners and all that good stuff. All right, Chris and I have a decision to make, but before we do, Chris.
Yep.
I'm showing y'all my final fresh get of the week. Again, this was a freebie. I'm blown away, man. I am absolutely blown away. I said it was one of your favorite properties growing up, Chris.
Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep. That was your first comic book ever, was it not?
Yep.
Okay. Chris, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 4.
Wow.
Number 4. I haven't taken it out of the bag, but it looks like it's in really good condition.
Wow. He just threw that in?
Yeah, that overshadows the first appearance of Sam Alexander, wouldn't you say?
I want to know who this guy is so I can buy from him.
I have to, yeah. It's from Mercari. I get stuff on Mercari. I feel like it's easier. I got to get the name. I'm sorry. You know what? I owe it to him at least to get that name. So Chris, why don't you start talking about some of the books that you like, and I'm going to get that name.
Well, right I know who I'm picking.
Okay.
I like Newt's. I liked his little, jingle, his little punchline that he did. I like the layout. Collecting.
Okay, this guy's name is Black Collectibles from Massachusetts. Nice. He doesn't sell many books, which is crazy. Yeah. But he's on Mercari. So give him a look.
Gave him a perfect review.
I was absolutely blown away.
But yeah, I mean, Fear had a good one, good setup and everything, but I got one.
You have one. I have 2 that I like.
Yeah.
And again, man, I love seeing you people. I love seeing your faces because you have these tags, and
Nowhere Bound
86 is one of mine. I really, really like that. And another one is The Collector Without Fear.
Yeah.
I love that one. Chris, which one do you have?
Well, my number 1 was Raising Elm.
Raising Elm.
Yep. Because again, I don't know if he means to do all so you got the TIE fighter sitting. First off, it looks like it's flying in the sky. He's got whatever he's got on there with a little white, looks like stars, like Star Wars stars. And then the way the book is set, it looks, you're looking the book, you're looking the cover is you're looking into a TIE fighter.
Jesus, I didn't notice the blasters. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with the blasters. So it's almost like it's reflecting, and it looks like the blasters are coming out of his TIE fighter model or whatever it is.
Okay.
And it didn't help that your screenshot had the little.
I know. I'm just real. I never do that.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it pops
Chris,
out.
Man, I hate doing this. I'm never a flip flopper, but I rushed to get the show ready, and I did not take enough time to look. I gotta say, Raising Elm. Yeah. It's Raising Elm. Raising Elm, you're moving on to the semifinals. You're going to go up against next week's semifinalist right there. That was really good. I mean, Raising Elm has sent in some doozies, but that one is just so good. Okay, all right. I'm very happy. That's a nice way to end the show right here. Chris, yet another episode. in the
Yeah,
bank.
I'm happy to be back again, guys. I know I've been wishy-washy, and I'm just grateful for Jeff
You're
to
not
keep
waiting.
it
That's a
going.
terrible way to explain yourself, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm grateful for 360 for always jumping in and everything. So, but I'm just I'm glad I'm here when I'm here and able to continue to be a part of this show almost 3 years strong. So,
All right, man. I just got. Chris has to go. He's got family stuff to deal with, but we got issues. Miles Morales was just announced for Spider-Man 4. Okay, we'll have to look into that. That's a big deal. All right, everybody. We will be back next week.
Check your source.
What's that?
Check your sources.
Exactly. Yeah, we were not going to confirm that, but it's nice to hear. Also this forgot to mention CGC delivered 25 graded comics to my door today as a present. He's having a good birthday, other than that game. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on Monday. We are live every Monday. We can't thank you all enough for being the audience that you are. You're the reason we do this show each and every week. We love doing it each and every week. Until next week, be good to yourself, be good to others. Do you like that awkward? Peace.